Good afternoon, everybody. We are back for video number 2 today. This is Alex once again with Muddy Waters. So, we are moving forward once again with looking for a 1985 Dodge four-door sedan. It's a Dodge 600 car. If you are familiar with us, you probably know the significance of this car. This is the car that Randy Leach was driving when he disappeared the evening in April of 1988. This car belonged to Randy's parents. We are trying to find one of these cars basically to do some experiments with. So if you've been, following Muddy Waters for the last year or two, um, the story is that Randy Leach, he went missing in 1988, sometime the night when there was a graduation party going on. Um, Randy had drove this car to this party. The car belonged to his mother and father. To this day, Randy has never been found. The car has never been found. And last year, I was really, searching day in and day out to find one of these cars. The problem is, these cars are either really cheap if you can find one, and we need a car that runs in order to do some of these experiments, or these cars are really nice and people want a lot of money, and in the end this car will be destroyed. And you might ask, well, why would the car be destroyed? So a lot of the theories and rumors that revolve around this car and the Randy Leach case is anything from, Randy drove off an embankment off of a road, he went into a creek, the creek flowed into the river, and the car ended up somewhere there. Other ones is, theories and rumors is that the car, is possibly sitting in a field somewhere. Possibly Randy ran off the road in his car, and he, to this day, is sitting in the car off the beaten path, and that's where he's at. So, there's theories that the car was buried. There is theories that the car went to the crusher. So Dennis and I and the gang, we have talked about this many and many times. We have talked about this many times on our videos. So basically, what we want to try and do some experiments to prove or disprove. Well, yes, this could have happened. No, this couldn't have happened. And last year, this time we were trying to find one of these cars, and yes, we did find some. And it was either the car was too far out of the way, the car was way too expensive, the car was junk, it wouldn't run, it wouldn't operate. Um, so there were so many factors that played into stuff that why this didn't happen last year, and why we are moving forward this year with trying to do these experiments. So the year before last, I tried doing an experiment near where I live, and up where I live, there is an old farmstead, and there is a white semi truck that is setting next to the side of a barn. It's there's a path that goes up to it, but there's trees and bushes. I would say it's 150 feet off the road. Um, and so around the time that Randy Leach went missing in the month of April, I started taking pictures every week as I drove by to basically document how long it would take in April when the spring was coming. We had the rains. The vegetation is starting to grow, the grass is growing, the trees are starting to bud, the bushes are starting to bud. And so every week when I drove past this area, I would stop and take a picture on the side of the road. And if I remember right, it took about 4 or 5 weeks. If Dennis hops on here, he might be able to throw it out there, because I don't remember off the top. I think this was the year before last. But I want to say it took about 5 weeks for the white semi truck to completely disappear where you could not see it from the road if you were driving by. Now, granted, Randy Leach's car, the car that belonged to his mother and father, I'm pretty sure it was probably this color. Whoa, sorry. It was probably this color right here, this darker gray looking color. I think, I cannot remember, but I did buy a factory 1985 Dodge 600 brochure. I bought that off of eBay. And I bought that to basically use as reference that if we ever was to find, supposedly, if we found parts of a car in a creek or on a farm or on vacant land, we would have a reference to look at it if the car was smashed up or cut up, so on and so forth. But I think there was actually two colors of the gray color, but I could be wrong. So we want to do all these experiments. There was experiments where supposedly there was rumors or accusations or theories that, Randy ran off the road and ended up in a pond. Well, one of the experiments is we want to, at this time, that same week in April, we're trying to recreate the same conditions that could have happened that night. We want to drive the car through the grass, through a ditch, per se, like towards a pond. We want to document it. We want to document what the grass looked like when the car drove over it. I know it sounds silly, but when you take into the fact that there was people looking for Randy day in and day out, the law enforcement was looking, all this was going on, they're trained. They would have been looking for possible tracks. They did search the creeks and the areas in the river. They were flying in the air. There was people flying in the air in an airplane, looking for the car. That's one of the things we want to document. We want to document driving the car, through brush, and to show that, yeah, this looks out of place. I think everybody knows that, out of the corner of their eye, they'll notice that a tree has fallen on the side of a road where they might live by. You'll notice these things. You might notice a vehicle that always sits in someone's driveway, all of a sudden it's gone. So there's these little things, that we want to basically try to prove or disprove. Another one is, there's going to be one of our experiments after we do all these different tests. And, one of them is how far could the car drive on a full tank of fuel? How far could Randy have possibly drove, because there's never been no money pulled out of his bank accounts, if I remember right. So how much money did he truthfully have on him? How far could he have gone, And it all comes down to, did Randy's life, did it end because of foul play? Did it end because he drove off the road into water and unfortunately he was trapped and drowned? There's stories that Randy has gone to California and that the car and Randy is in California. But, Another story, an accusation, a rumor is the car was buried. I'm actually going to dig a hole and bury the car. And I know that might sound silly, but we're talking, how fast could somebody do something to get rid of evidence, get rid of the car, hide it? Yes, we are going to, in the end, I will drain the oil out of it, and we will pull the car into a pond and let it sink. And then we will document with a drone up in the air what that car looks like in a pond. Um, and in the end, the fate of the car will be that the car is going to go to the crusher. And we will document this. We're going to document all these different things to try to prove or disprove, what is reality, what is not reality. Um, so if any of the audience, if anybody might once again help us look for one of these, I really don't care where the car is at in the United States. We will figure out a way to, go get it, so on and so forth. As you can see in the banner, the email is in the banner to contact us, our mailing address, the phone number that you can reach us. You can call or text 24/7. You can email 24/7. So a few other odd things that we can talk about this car is Dodge, Chrysler, Plymouth all made a version of this car. So there was the Dodge 600. There was the Plymouth Caravelle. And then I think the Chrysler version was, oh geez, I forgot what the Chrysler version was. Let's look here, because right off the top of my head I cannot figure. So let's see. The New Yorker. There it is. So the New Yorker was the same version as the Dodge 600 and the Plymouth Caravelle. From what I've researched, they all came off the same assembly line. The only difference in these three versions of that car was either the front fascia and the rear fascia was different. From what I've read and pictures I've seen, is the Plymouth Caravelle had the same front fascia and rear fascia. Well, so what fascia means is the same front bumper, the same lights, the same grille. But the Chrysler New Yorker, it was different. So the reality is yes, I would love to have the same exact car, 100%. But if we cannot find it, we can still use a 1985 Plymouth Caravelle or the New Yorker, because the car's weight, the wheelbase, the dimensions, they're the same car. We would get the same results in our testing. So, I'm reaching out to you all. If, people can help try to locate one of these cars, whether it's Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, their Facebook swapping shops, please reach out to us. Please let us know if you come across one. You can email us a link to the MWSAR22 at yahoo.com email. And, we can move forward, because, it's January 6th. We do have a few months to get one of these located and purchased, but I really want to try again to have one that's drivable and runnable. I don't really care if it's rusted out, if it's dented up or beat up. I really don't really care about that. but we really need it to run to do some of these experiments, of course. We've got till, April. So, you know, I hope we can move forward with this experiment this year and try to make this happen and, prove or disprove some of these theories, some of these accusations, some of these rumors that, is linked to the, Randy Leach. So that is it for this